What football games stick out in your mind as the most memorable and why? Could be games you played in, could be games you called or watched. Um, Look, man, what sticks in my mind immediately is that I believe it was 2 years ago. I mean, people, if they know, they know. They'll think about it right away. I think a little over 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, the Chiefs and the Rams played on Monday Night Football. And oh my God, it's the best game I can remember watching on TV. Patrick Mahomes, a super high scoring game. It was like 55-52, I believe. My old high school teammate, Samson Ebukam, who plays defensive end for the Rams, had 2 touchdowns on defense. It was so much fun. I'll never forget that game. The Rams were wearing their all yellow uniforms, looked so cool. I thought it was an awesome game. I remember I called Washington State versus Utah. Down at Utah, met a lot of cool people, met some fans of the show. It was raining and wild and fun. We were live on YouTube calling that game. It was so cool. I was on the sideline when, Gardner Minshew's senior year. I had a media pass because early in the day I worked for ESPN's College Game Day. And that night, I watched Justin Herbert play Gardner Minshew on the sideline in Pullman, Washington. Washington State beat Oregon. It was so cool and so much fun. I got to go to MetLife Stadium for an XFL game in New York where I got to watch the LA Wildcats play against the New York Guardians. I got to talk to Luis Perez, the quarterback of the Guardians, after the game. Met a few fans. It was really, really cool. Fans of the Strong Men in Sports, so let me clarify. I vividly remember Devin Hester taking back the kick return in the Super Bowl against the Colts. I don't remember really anything else from the game other than it was raining really hard. I actually got food poisoning that day. And so the Super Bowl of the Bears and Colts is a blur, but I'll never forget the opening kickoff with Devin Hester running through the rain, looking up at the scoreboard it was so cool to watch live. I remember all the Tim Tebow games very vividly. I was with my dad on the couch. We loved it. We would literally change the channel to find Tim Tebow at the end of the game, whether it was the Dolphins. I believe it was that 2-point conversion where he flipped his feet and threw a 2-point conversion against the Dolphins to win. I remember the playoff game against the Steelers where he hit that, I think it was a slant or a post. I think it was just a slant to Demaryius Thomas for that long touchdown to win in the playoffs. So many games come to mind, man. I've had such a fun history with football. There are some games I played in I remember really vividly. My final 2 games of my high school career really stick in my mind, where one of them is the first round of the playoffs. It's actually, I played for Skyview High School in Vancouver, Washington. We were playing Skyline High School in Seattle, which is where Max Brown played in high school, actually. Max Brown's former high school. And we were losing at halftime 24-3. We were down 21 points at halftime. And we came back and we won in double overtime. And it was a really fun game with my teammates, such a fun comeback. I broke every passing record in that game. It's a little bit skewed because we did play in 2 overtimes, but I had over 450 yards passing. It was so much fun. We had a flea flicker for a touchdown, which is amazing. We had a play where, I was in my own end zone. The snap is low. It rolled to me. I picked it up. I made a defender miss. I threw the ball down the sideline on a wheel route to my running back. It was so cool. And it's funny watching on film where you watch the coaches for the other team start celebrating and then go, oh no, and they threw their stuff, and watching the range of emotions on the play where they thought they were going to have a big play in the end zone, in my own end zone, and then I threw the ball for a big gain. They were furious. And it was so funny to watch on film. It's on my YouTube channel somewhere on Zach Schaumler. And then I think of my final game in high school. It was a cold game in Wenatchee, Washington. I had 3 long sleeves on. It was so blisteringly cold. And we were so cold. I mean, I had 3 long sleeve shirts on, 3 long sleeve Under Armour shirts. And the other team walks out. Wenatchee High School walks out. They're a big UW recruit. He walks out bare bellied. They're wearing, cutoff sleeves. They wore tank tops in 24-degree weather, totally fine. They ran circles around us. My receivers couldn't catch anything. God bless them. It was so hard. I mean, the ball that game, I threw pretty well, but it was like catching a rock or like a brick. It was so hard and cold, like throwing an ice brick to them. We were competitive, but they beat us by 2 touchdowns, I believe. And I just remember cleaning up the locker room after the game, feeling kind of in shock. I want to help out. I know my coaches are tired, and we had to clean up the locker room and be kind of respectful. And I don't know, man. That was a game where I just was like, man, it's over. My high school career is over, and I was so sad and ready to move forward to college football. But, more than college, high school is what I remember mostly. Man, it was so much fun with my friends. And I guess if you're on YouTube, please comment the games that you remember the best. I want to hear your stories, or write in on Patreon. Tell me about whether you were playing or watching. What games stand out to you the most from your time being a football fan? If you have a story like the Chiefs or the Rams, I'd love to hear that. Like, if there's a game that you remember vividly and you're like, man, I can't stop thinking about the Rose Bowl with Sam Darnold against Penn State a couple years ago. Whatever it is, share your stories. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, it'd be really, really cool.